If we can't protect the Earth, you can be damn sure we'll avenge it.
So Entertainment Weekly is very happy to be the only outlet that has assembled all of the superhero actors from the Avengers, along with Joss Whedon, the writer-director of the film. So thanks for being here, guys. I wanted to ask, Robert, you kind of kicked off this franchise with Iron Man, and
I thought you said it got kicked off, and I thought find me right now.
Well, we voted, and here's your torch.
you know, I feel like Tony Stark is part of the Avengers. He's kind of a unifier and an agitator at the same time. Do you feel you serve that role in real life?
In the industry, yes. I guess so. I mean, I feel like I'm saw the movie Wednesday, shot the movie last year, and now kind of seeing really for the first time like what it all means and meant, and it came together really nicely. I guess you know, I think for all of us it was just a big exercise in faith and trust in Joss's vision for this thing, which is why I'm so happy that night before last we all walked the red carpet, went to the premiere, left, and everyone said that really worked, and we went home like, whew, it did.
When I visited the set, I think almost every one of you that I talked to described your character as sort of desperately lonely, and I wondered which of these characters is the most messed up of all?
Oh, characters.
Characters.
Yeah, I don't include
Since they all come from you, obviously, that's on your life. But yeah, which one?
It's got to be Hawkeye,
right?
It's the Hawkeye.
Why? What do you think?
No, I couldn't tell you.
You don't think?
See, the trauma's buried so deep.
Yeah.
But Hawkeye's origin story is just it's horrible. It's nothing but trauma.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's got some deep stuff going on in her past.
Yeah, we all have a bit of trauma.
Do you think Captain America is the most messed up of the bunch?
Certainly not the most. I mean, like you said, everyone has their own baggage, and I think that's why it was an uphill battle to try and marry all the conflict of all these individual characters. You know, I couldn't say I had the most, but you know, I had some.
You know, that's the thing about Cap is he's got this weird thing where everybody assumes, oh, he's from the 40s, and so he's so idealistic. 3 weeks ago, it was World War II. It was the most appalling thing men have ever been through. And so people assume that he's very naive. He's definitely out of touch in the world and going, I don't know that I can make a difference here. I don't know that I belong here. But he is extremely badass and very dark in that place. I mean, he's still in that war. For me, you know, this is, the idea was that, you know, I feel, you know, I have a little bit of the Cap aesthetic, because, you know, is that as our culture sort of feels like it's disintegrating slightly, and as our economy is disintegrating not slightly, the idea that is very old-fashioned of community, of people working for each other, and that the idea of manhood is not being better and above everybody else, but that a man is somebody who is part of a community and part of a family and part of something bigger and, you know, part of an idea. That's gone away, and so the thing about the Avengers for me is that you know, it's about bringing that back. We're all isolated. We're all dealing with our own problems, and these guys haven't. I don't mean the actors, although I could tell you stories. But the characters all have these enormous problems. But the beauty of the thing is when they realize that not only does that not matter in the bigger scheme, but the way to work those problems out is to subsume themselves to something that matters more.
You know, this was one of those things that it's an ambitious undertaking. You respect the fact that there are going to be a lot of people who have high expectations of this film, and you respect Marvel's decision to go with Joss. So essentially, like most movies, you collaborate with your director. You try and find a common ground of who the character should be. Now, luckily, Joss did a pass on the first Captain America, so he had a pretty healthy understanding of who the character should be. So on this film, we already kind of saw eye to eye, and to be honest, when we met prior to filming, I didn't want to get in the way. I just was like, listen, I trust you. I trust you, right? And not only do you have a hand in the birth of the original character, but you're a comic book guy. You know this character. You're the fan base. You're who I'm worried about offending. So whatever you are happy with, I'm happy with. And outside of that, I just tried to follow suit and not f*** up.
I think when the script was kind of in its infancy, or the ideas were just kind of forming, we all met with Joss to kind of talk about what we wanted, to see in our character, and it was very endearing, actually. I remember Joss and I were talking about how my character has this really painful past and this really deep, kind of dark past, and she was, probably sort of trained against her will, or that skill set that she has assembled is something that was kind of just was sort of forced upon her. And he was talking about it, and he actually got kind of misty-eyed, and I was so he's like, no, I was yes. Was
allergies.
Was it? Yeah, right. I'm sure. And I found it to be so endearing. Actually, it was very charming. And one thing that we wanted to have for the character was really have not have her just be this kind of righteous warrior, which she's not. I mean, I think she was a mercenary, and she's now, I think she's very loyal, and she's kind of been a someone who has had to kind of use her loyalty as a means of perhaps erasing in her mind a lot of painful memories,
I mean, I studied on stuff and talked to Joss a lot about stuff, and we all sat down and had a great discussion about it. But backstory doesn't really mean dick all to me if it doesn't apply from page 1 to page whatever the heck it is. I have to serve this story, and I want to do it authentically as I possibly can to help Joss tell this story.
Yeah. I had just flown. Yeah. I'd flown from Toronto to LA at that point.
How many blenders do you have?
I had like 2 hours of sleep.
Was this something you were? What's the context here? Were you blowing this?
It was my first day at work, and I had all this scientific jargon, and it was Sam Jackson.
Gobbledygook.
And I was.
Who neglected to mention that he couldn't remember a damn thing his first day.
Right.
No, he did though. Afterwards, he said, and I'll take a diet Dr. Pepper and a cheeseburger. And he just started busting on me, and I ran over to him and I hugged him and I said, Sam, I love you, man. I'm having a hard time doing my lines in front of you. And he's like, you should have seen me yesterday.
See, I owned up. I have no problem.
And then after that, it was almost there.
No problem.
I think it's a good analogy for where America is in a weird way, and all these people who I'm going to do it my way. I got the right way. This is no one else. I don't want to hear from anybody else. It's in the end, nothing gets done, and eventually these guys get past that and to fight a common cause for the greater good. Sam?
What?
I just wanted to wake you up.
I believe that shit. Yes, I believe that.
See?
What do you guys think? Do you have any thoughts on that? Or where's your character stand in as an allegory, or what does he represent?
Yeah, I mean, I think they all have to put aside their individual interests and objectives and, work out how they fit into the team, because, the first half of the film is about them trying to fulfill their own goals, and that doesn't work out too well. They end up destroying things and each other, and then finally they, get along, and that's, any community or family can't be defined by an individual, it's by the actions of the group.
So it's a communist message.
Absolutely.
Right?
Come on, Upper West Side in the 70s. John Reed, that's mine. Joe Hill, those are my boys.
You're a watermelon. Green on the outside, red on the inside.
Named limousine liberals.
The eye patch thing is crazy, right? Because it's actually really troublesome to obscure half of your vision for that many hours a day.
Actually, it's leather see-through.
It is? Wait a minute. Everyone was. I heard, like, first day, oh, the eye patch is really throwing it. That's what I kept hearing. You could see through that thing?
No, you know what happened? No, I can't see through it. But you know what happened is, well, we've been flying for I come from Toronto to New York, did the Times Square scene with Chris, and then came straight to Albuquerque, so I hadn't had 2 hours sleep. Yeah.
So I was trying to remember those lines. So I learned them on the plane. And then when I got there and put the eye patch on, I could only see half the page in my head. That's what kept me up. And I didn't figure that out till halfway through the day, that I had to go take the sides, cover my eye, and relearn the
Come
lines.
on.
Wow. Yeah. So from that
You have
point
a photographic
on,
memory.
I had to learn the lines like this at home, or close one eye and learn the lines before I came to work.
Did you say something like you didn't know what your face was doing? I thought you were like, I don't know what
No, I just couldn't. I mean, there was something in my brain that just wouldn't let me learn them with two eyes and then put the patch on and remember them. It was it was crazy.
My favorite was when we were on the bridge and you came down the center of that sort of raised center aisle, and then I moved it. I'm like, you know, it's going to be better for the shot if we put it over here, right by the edge on the left. And you were like, I was like, I moved that to the over here. He's like, yeah, next time cover your left eye and do that.
Sound like
That's right.